Hi guys. Okay, so our topic tonight is music therapy and incorporating music in your home. So before we get started with that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about parents as teachers. Hopefully everyone, we do this every time we present. So hopefully by now you all have a parent educator. It's so important. I have a parent educator for my kiddos, even though I'm a teacher at Barfield. Very, very important. So it's free and they come to your house, or you can go to their building if you'd like, but they come to your house to make it super easy. You can go on the Winsville website and sign up through Barfield, or sorry, that's my school. Sign up through Parents as Teachers. It's really easy, and someone will contact you. So I'm a teacher at Barfield Early Childhood, and we started these, I think, like 6 years ago. So maybe 7, but it might be 6. So, and really we just kind of started because, well, I became a parent and I thought I knew everything and I didn't. And so it was just very enlightening becoming a parent. And so we started looking at what parents might need, what they struggle with, and all of that. I struggle and I have a master's degree in this. So it's just hard. And so we try to hit all different topics. If there's ever a topic that we don't cover, we are always open to suggestions. You can email me, Tara, T-A-R-A, Dunaway, D-U-N-A-W-A-Y, at wsdr4.org. We would love any suggestions as we start making our plan for next year. So we're going to get started. So Melissa is presenting tonight on music therapy and incorporating it into your home. So go ahead, Melissa.
Thank you. All right. I am going to share my screen as soon as I'm the host here real quick. There we go. Okay, I'm going to try this way and see how this goes. All right. Let me make this a little bit bigger here in my presentation mode. Okay, can you all see that okay?
That looks good.
Okay. All right, so the presentation, like Tara said, is music therapy for kids and how to use music therapy techniques in your home. And this is just an outline of what we're going to talk about. I'm going to really try to get through all these slides. I might go kind of quickly through the first few so I can have some time to give some actual, things you can use right away in your house. So first is just an introduction and the purpose. What is music therapy? I have some slides on early childhood music therapy literature and also music therapy research and with some other not just early childhood, but like autism and some emotional regulation. And then also different domains that are addressed by music therapists in early childhood and a home setting, and then music therapy strategies that I use typically in my sessions, and then how you can use those in your home. So hello, my name is Melissa Dierenfeldt, and I've been a music therapist since 2009. I have been working primarily with my entire career has been working with kids, so early childhood and school age kids, both who are typically developing and children with disabilities. So this kind of a wide range there. And I have 4 kids of my own. So like Tara said, it's hard being a mom, hard being a parent. My kids are 11, 9, 7, and 5. And yeah, so I feel like my career as a music therapist and my time being a mom has really helped me to get some good ideas to give you. Okay, the purpose of this presentation is going to be to help you. I'm gonna see if I can move this. Here we go. To help you view music in a different way. You will learn ideas on how to intentionally use music within your home to provide opportunities for meaningful music experiences to help achieve a desired outcome for your child. So really the main thing is just looking at music differently than you may have looked at it in the past. So what is music therapy? According to the AMTA, music therapy is the clinical and evidence-based use of music interventions to accomplish individualized goals within a therapeutic relationship by a credentialed professional who has completed an approved music therapy program. So that's a really long sentence. So according to me, I typically tell people music therapy is using music to achieve a non-musical goal. So you're using music as the medium to achieve something. But I do like this definition that the AMTA publishes, because not a lot of people know that music therapy actually is a professional career that you go to school for, and you have to have a degree in music therapy, and there's a board certification that you have to actually, and some states actually have licensure that is happening now with music therapists as well. So there's another part of this from musictherapy.org. You can go there and get lots of information about music therapy, but this is just some little snippets I wanted to share. So music therapy is an established health profession in which music is used within a therapeutic relationship to address physical, emotional, cognitive, and social needs of individuals. And then, so, the therapeutic relationship is the important part there too, that it's not, somebody coming into your home or you going to a group and just singing music. That's might be what it looks like, but there's always a goal in mind. So it's a process, and there's a goal in mind. There's a reason for doing the certain songs that you do or the activities that you do. So after assessing the strengths and needs of each client, the qualified music therapist provides the indicated treatment, including creating, singing, moving to, and or listening to music, which we'll talk about later. That's going to be the ways you can use music in your home. And through musical involvement in the therapeutic context, clients' abilities are strengthened and transferred to other areas of their lives, which is kind of what I like to hone in on the most, is how can we use music to help in any area that needs help, basically. Music therapy also provides avenues for communication that can be helpful to those who find it difficult to express themselves in words. And there's research in music therapy that supports its effectiveness in many areas, such as overall physical rehabilitation, facilitating movement, increasing people's motivation to become engaged in their treatment, providing emotional support for clients and their families, and providing an outlet for expression of feelings. So that's a lot of words there too. This is a funny meme that I found online that about what a music therapist is. So here's this one that says, what my friends think I do is with this, all these kids with these awesome instruments and the guy playing the guitar. What society thinks I do, just hanging out playing guitar like video games. What academics think I do, which is this fun little hippie lady running around out in nature. Which is funny. Like, I think this meme was I actually would say academics have been very supportive of me in my career. So, which is why I'm here today. So thank you, Tara. And what my clients think I do, this is Jesus healing this little child. And then what I think I do, here's surgery. And what I actually do is this one woman band here. So I just thought that was really hilarious, because, some of these, I think there's some truth to, and some of it not so much, like the surgery part of this, that's not actually what I think I do, but I know that there's a lot of different parts to therapy that happens that I, want to pay attention to every time that I'm working with a client. So I just thought that this was funny.
I think that's so funny, like so funny, because so many people don't understand music therapy. So you literally, any one of those things, that's very amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. So, okay, on to the next one. So some early childhood music therapy literature. So I have the second and the third books in my library. I don't have this first one, but as I was researching for this presentation, I think I might order it. It's called Music Therapy and Parent-Infant Bonding by Jane Edwards, which it just looked really interesting. And I took a little snippet that I found online. In the context of parent-infant work, music therapy can be described as a process of developing a relationship with a caregiver or dyad in order to support, develop, and extend their skills in using music and music-like interactions, including vocal improvisation, chants, lullabies, songs, and rhymes to promote and enhance the sensitivity and mutual co-regulation between infant and caregiver in order to create the optimal environment for secure attachment to be fostered. So I just thought that sounded so interesting. And kind of, we hear that a lot from parents, the connection that you can have with your children when you're singing them lullabies, and just kind of that one-on-one time with music. The next one is music therapy in early childhood, a developmental approach. And this one goes through different developmental stages and then the different developmental stages of music and kind of connects those two. The next one is an effective clinical practice in music therapy, early childhood and school age educational setting by Marcia Humpel and Cynthia Colwell. And this one is more for music therapists who want to seek more knowledge on music therapy settings and how programs are developed in those settings. But there is the family framework that's discussed and encouraged for young children, which I thought was interesting and pertinent for this. Okay, this is music therapy research, and this is more with children with autism. There was this PDF that was created on the American Music Therapy Association website that goes through the most recent research for music therapy with young children. And a lot of it is with kids with autism, but a lot of it does apply to typically developing early childhood age as well. So that's why I included this. So music therapy interventions engage children and foster capacity for flexibility, creativity, variability, and tolerance of change, which is something I really like to talk to people about, that like if their child has a hard time with transitions anywhere in life, in school, at home, or whatever, that music is so structured and predictable that if you change just a tiny little bit, it's not as overwhelming as a different type of change if your child is not used to that kind of change. And then evidence continues to grow, indicating music therapy treatment is beneficial for improving social skills in children with autism. The unique qualities of music within therapeutic interventions provide a foundation for practicing social skills, including social engagement and joint attention. But there are gaps in the research, and that older students' perception of the value and benefit of music therapy and the extent of generalizability, I don't know how to say that word, of outcomes outside of clinical and classroom setting. So, and on this PDF, I know it's kind of hard to follow this, or if you just look for on the musictherapy.org, it gives the actual names of the articles and who wrote them and all of that. So you can look up more information if you wanted some more. And there's some more in here too. Actually, one of my old professors, she helped write this, Dr. Hanson Abermite, and it's a follow-up study that examined the impact of family-centered, oh no, this wasn't the one by her, sorry, but family-centered music therapy 4 years after participating in 16-week home-based program. And they found that long-term benefits to social relationships within the family, leading to perceived enrichment in child and family quality of life, followed music therapy sessions, which I thought was so cool, that, involving family members with music, using music as that medium to kind of connect each other, was still beneficial 4 years later. So I'm going to move on.
And I was going to tell you, Melissa, we'll also have your presentation available. So like the clickable links will totally work for anybody.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, this is the one my previous professor, she helped with. It was the musical contour regulation facilitation intervention. And it was for early childhood and for promoting emotional regulation development in preschoolers. And it resulted in a positive change in behavior following the intervention in terms of their emotion skills and peer interactions. So that's just like how you introduce different musical interventions throughout the session. So at different hierarchies. Okay, so that was some research there. And so some of the domains addressed by music therapists in early childhood or home settings are motor movement, pre-academics, social skills, emotional, and language. And I just gave some examples in case, I know a lot of people probably will already know some of these, but just examples of motor movement. We have gross motor and fine motor. Gross motor is more of your whole body, crawling, running, climbing, dancing, balancing, using stairs, and throwing. And fine motor is more of the using your hands, so holding objects, coloring, using both hands, opening and closing containers, fasteners, buttons, and opening doors. Pre-academics is identifying the colors and shapes and sorting in colors and shapes and different sizes, counting, recognizing letters, recalling information from stories, imitating movements and following directions. Social skills for interacting with siblings and parents, taking turns, having conversations, waiting, that's a huge one for our little ones, understanding other person's perspective, making choices, imitating actions and different types of play and cleaning up. Emotional would be understanding feelings, building self-esteem, self-awareness, social awareness, emotional regulation, making decisions, and building relationships. So all of these things I'm mentioning are things that can be addressed with music therapy. Communication, so language, communication, verbal communication using your voices, sign language, written words, or an augmentative communication device, and nonverbal communication, so using your body language or facial expression and pauses in speech to convey a message. And then we have receptive versus expressive language. So receptive language is understanding language, and expressive is using your language. Okay, so here we go to some music therapy strategies. This is just my own definitions that I have given to different families and educators on, like how, and when I'm doing an assessment, I'm giving them information on how my music therapy interventions are going to, why do I think they're going to work? So they're just labeled as active listening, singing familiar and novel songs, and playing instruments. Those are the typical ones I use. So active listening allows a listener to work on many different skills, such as memorization, relaxation, attention, cueing, etc. And active listening encompasses not only listening to the lyrics of a song to learn a new skill or follow a direction, but allows the music to guide and cue a response. So then I'm giving some examples of this. So we have fill in the blank. So either verbal or nonverbal. So you might think of twinkle, twinkle, little, and then you wait for that to fill in, which is the same tune as A, B, C, D, E, F. But if you have a nonverbal child, you might allow them to give a nonverbal, like playing a drum. A, B, C, D, E, F, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, or whatever it is. So you can give it, or movement of any kind to fill it in. So the music is guiding and cueing that response. Another is following directions. So you include the directions within the lyrics of a song, which makes it really predictable. And that's what we were talking about earlier, where you can change something. A song I do is really, really unique lyrics. We can follow directions. It's easy as can be. So we might say, clap your hands, clap your hands, clap, clap, clap your hands. Or you can do stomp your feet and clap your hands. And then, allow time for them to do that. So one step or multi-step directions, but the music is teaching the skill and it's guiding and cueing the response. And the way that the music is structured, the child knows when to listen for the direction. So you can grab and maintain attention with this active listening. And then learning skills. So pre-academics like sorting, positional concepts, and telling time. So one of my favorite songs, even my own kiddos, like when they were starting to learn time in elementary school, we would use this telling time song of the little hand tells the hour's on the long hand tells the minute, up top says o'clock. So, every time that you're introducing something to a child, the music helps you to introduce it and explain it in the same way every time. So, you give that space for your child to fill it in. So the little hand's on the hour says 7, the long hand's on the minute, and up top says o'clock, it's 7 o'clock. So that's just an idea for that, for active listening. The next one is singing familiar and novel songs. So many different musical elements make up familiar and novel songs, which provide structure and predictability to the listener. These elements include, but are not limited to, rhythm, so the different beats in a song, melodic contour, which is the different pitches going higher and lower, and tempo, which is fast and slow, and phrasing, which is like a musical sentence. So some examples of this, I wrote down examples on my notes here so I wouldn't forget anything. Oh, here we go. So speech sounds. So there's a song, I mean, you can kind of think of different ones. There's Little Green Frog. So, I went the little green frog one day. I went the little green frog. And then you can wait for that. So, trying to help your child with different speech sounds. Also learning new phrases. I use this for my clients when they're requesting or wants and needs, or learning emotions. So something that I use is like a cueing phrase. So we sing, when we want something, we say, and then the response is, I want a sucker, or whatever it is. So that's using the cueing phrase, that's a musical phrase, to help them to sing. And these are examples that I am giving you that I use within my sessions, but I'm going to be giving you examples that you can do in your home right away. I just wanted to go through these as examples for you. So kind of typically what I do in my sessions. And then I just kind of talked about that, the way you present the song each time. So when you sing a song, you typically sing it in the same way each time you present it to your child, with the same tempo and the rhythm. This is why it's predictable, and it's how your children can learn. Okay, next is playing a variety of instruments. Instruments are often very motivating to young children and may provide a reward for different tasks. Playing different instruments may also offer the opportunity to address different fine and gross motor skills. So you've got bilateral coordination, which is using the both sides of your body to play. A lot of the times, like playing drums with two hands, increasing muscle strength in your upper extremities, playing instruments. So that's motor improvement that they're helping with. Grasping objects like instruments. When kiddos are working on grasping utensils to eat with or to write with, practicing with instruments is a really great way to work on that. And nonverbal communication and musical conversations and crossing midlines. And I kind of want to give an example of this nonverbal communication, which is a musical conversation, because this is one of my very favorite things to work on with kiddos who might be a little shy, or they might be nonverbal. So using instruments it's a lot less intrusive, I guess. So for example, if I'm working with a kiddo who's nonverbal, I might match what they're playing on an instrument. So if they're playing a drum, I'll match what they're playing, which helps them to feel like they're in charge. They're leading the conversation, that I'm following along with them, which that gives us that sense of, community. It gives us that we're connected in that way. But then what I might do is give them a chance to play something, and then I'll play it back to them. And then they might play something else and I'll play it back to them. So then there's that conversation, turn taking, those skills that are happening, but it's all nonverbal, it's all musical. And then you might try to lead the conversation, and then they might play back to you. So that's one of my very favorite things to address with this playing instruments. In addition to, working on motor skills, and also kids like to use instruments as rewards a lot of the time too. Okay, so here's some easy strategies that you can do in your home right away. So listening to music, moving to music, playing instruments, creating music, and reading musical books. These are going to be my examples. So I just wanted to give some examples of where you might be noticing music already in your home. So TV shows or movies, YouTube, tablets, radio, streaming music on listening devices like Alexa, live music, which is like you singing, or if anybody in your house plays an instrument, if you have a piano, a guitar, anything, video games, and musical toys. So this is like where you're probably already hearing different music within your house. So now what? How can you kind of use that? I just give some examples. So TV shows, use the songs your children already know to help in your own home. You're hearing them all the time anyway, so why not? So these are just some ideas. Playing songs specifically made for kids, which you can look up anything really you could ever desire to look up a skill for on YouTube. You can search, if your child's working on time or money, or if you are working on a waiting song, there's probably songs about waiting. Stephanie Level is a great music therapist and a songwriter, so she's a good resource. Lori Berkner Band, if you don't know Lori Berkner Band, she's great. She does the one that a lot of people know is that we are the dinosaurs marching. And then Jack Hartman, I'm not sure if I spelled his name correctly, but if you look him up, any of his songs are great for educational purposes. He has letter recognition, sign language, seasons, all kinds of things. I have a lot of teachers who've told me before that he's like their co-teacher, like their favorite co-teacher. And he's really cool because he started his company basically writing these songs because his wife is an early childhood educator and she needed songs to teach. So he started writing them, which I thought was really great. And then super simple songs, that if you look that up, there's a lot of things you can listen to. Silly School Education, which is it's based in the UK, but they have some really fun songs, especially for speech sounds and for language skills. Okay, and then I also put Accel Music Therapy, which that is my company, and we actually have a YouTube channel it kind of was developed out of COVID, because if we had students who were during that virtual time, we did virtual sessions with them, and sometimes it didn't work to do sessions that were live, and we created different videos for them to watch. So you can check out some things there. There's videos of my kids dancing to different songs. I use a lot of Stephanie Level songs, and that's more of like for early childhood kiddos for following directions and movements, which we'll learn later. Also, it helps with so many different domains with movement. Okay, PBS shows that I often find on Amazon Prime. I love Daniel Tiger. If you've never seen Daniel Tiger, you should look that show up. It's amazing, and there's a song for everything. I have a funny story about Daniel Tiger because there's one that's called when you feel so mad that you wanna roar, you take a deep breath and you count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hopefully by 4, we can calm down. When my son, he's 11 now, but when he was 4, he watched this. He was saying, it's probably because I'm a music therapist and I change the words to songs all the time. So he said, when you feel so mad that you wanna roar, take a deep breath, then I hit with my hands. Oh, so we quickly had to change the words back to the right words. And I thought that was funny. So Word World is another one. It's kind of an older one, but I love it for letter recognition. It's actual animals made out of letters, and they sing a lot of different songs. And Sid the Science Kid, he has a lot of really good songs in there too. Coco Melon, which is a Netflix or YouTube. I'm sure a lot of people know about Coco Melon. And then I didn't know if anybody else had any other ideas that they usually use.
Well, I was just going to chime in and just say, like, the Jack Hartman ones are incredible. We use them all the time at Barfield, Music and Movement, all of that. Like, he just does such a great job. I'm sure like his kids are probably super embarrassed that like he's their dad, but as far as engaging like early childhood kids, I don't know that there's anybody better than him. Like, he does such a great job. So I'm gonna have to check out Stephanie Lavelle. Like, I haven't heard of her.
Yeah, and she has a company so her goal as a music therapist is to write music that adults enjoy, like that is good for children, but that adults enjoy. Gotcha. And I love that. And she also has a part of her company which is creating lullabies for babies, who have sleeping issues, which I haven't delved a lot into that part of it, but just looking at her website is so neat. But she also offers like continuing education courses for music therapists, but they also can be geared towards educators as well. So she's just really great. I like her a lot.
Very cool. Yeah, I'll have to check her out.
Okay, well, thank you for interjecting about the Jack Hartman. He's everyone's favorite co-teacher. Okay, the next thing is moving to music. So dancing. So I just put in here that have you ever noticed your little baby can't help but moving their body when there's upbeat music playing? There's a reason for that they do that little bounce. And because music is just also known as that, universal language. And even as children get older, they can show us some pretty impressive dance moves. I know my children sure do. And then turn on your favorite dance music. So appropriate lyrics, of course. So something that you enjoy, and encourage your child to move their body. So this helps with their gross motor, that domain that we were talking about. Gross motor movement, that will help. Dancing will help with that for sure. And then you can also have fun pausing the music and play the freeze game. So this helps on their social and cognition domain and following directions. Then they play like the freeze dance. I think that actually is a song. You can maybe say, Alexa, play the freeze dance, and dance with your kids. So that's a really fun thing. And another thing is encourage communication skills for a nonverbal kiddo, and ask them to indicate they want more of music when you're moving to music by, like if you pause the music and you want them to tell you they want more, they can use a sign for more. If they're nonverbal, or they can tell you they want you to do more. So using that as a communication skill. And encourage more gross motor movement by imitating large stomps, jumps, skipping. Ask your child to follow the leader and do what you do. And find songs on YouTube. So like if you're a really busy parent and you don't have time to dance around the house, which I recommend it because it can improve everyone's mood, by the way. But or maybe you just need your kiddos to do something real quick while you do the dishes, you can look up these Just Dance songs for kids on YouTube, and it's, a video game, but they have recordings of them on YouTube. And if your kids can follow along with what different people are dancing to, and it's pretty interesting. It keeps them engaged for a while. Remember that imitating movements, so gross and fine motor, is a pre-academic and a pre-reading skill for young kiddos. So they're working on other things than just having fun and dancing, or working on these skills. And also you're working on social interaction due to the necessity to attend to their surroundings and do as others are doing, and kind of have to know what's going on in their environment. All right, so that's moving to music for dancing. Another example is playing instruments. So you can use instruments you may already have, like maracas, rattles, drums, etc. Or you can create your own instruments. So turning a Tupperware container upside down and getting out a plastic or wooden spoon, that works on your fine motor skills. You can use both hands, or you can cross the midline to do that. That's an important skill too. And what I didn't mention earlier for crossing the midline, just to think about, like your midline is here, and it just helps to connect those two sides of the brain. And it's a pre-reading skill too. So like if you're smoothly going from one side of like a piece of paper to the other side, but crossing that midline with your hands. But if you think of this as a midline, that's a great thing. So like hold your, the wooden spoon in the right hand while your child is holding, or while you're holding a bowl on the other side to play for a drum, and they have to cross over this way or this way. But your midline could also be from front to back. Your midline can be from top to bottom. So just thinking of different ways to encourage your child to play different ways. That's not just right in front of you, but just make it a little bit more interesting. That works on the motor skills. Also, you could use an empty spice container to fill it with beans or rice as an instrument. Also, looking up on Pinterest or YouTube different craft ideas. If you have time to do a craft with your child, there's a lot of different ideas on how to make your own instruments using paper plates and things like that. Oh, I have an example of my son's Christmas gifts to his siblings. So we were doing the Little Drummer Boy song a lot at home. And that's one of those really good songs for conversation skills. So if, for example, if I would sing, "Come, they told me," and then the response is, "Pa-rum-pa-pum-pum, our newborn king to see, pa-rum-pa-pum-pum." So what he did was he got chopsticks and a cottage cheese container, and he was playing, that was his drum. And then he decided, he would go to the Alexa and say, "Alexa, play Little Drummer Boy." And so then he would then use Alexa to do the call and response, where the Alexa would sing and he would do pa-rum-pa-pum-pum, and he would wait. That's working on the waiting skills. And then he would respond to that. Well, then for Christmas, I had all of these Walmart bags with old cottage cheese containers and chopsticks all wrapped up. And that was his Christmas gifts to all of his siblings, was he was giving them a drum set, which I was really cool. I thought that was really cool. So, but that's a really simple example of how you can use music within your home to interact with your kids or give them an idea of how to interact musically with something. And they're not just playing an instrument and having fun, they're working on a really important skill for their development. And also playing instruments in different ways. So like I talked about before, the pre-academic skills for positional concepts, on, under, over, behind, and next to. So any instrument you make, you can, we'll talk about later, like piggybacking songs, which is creating new words to songs that you already know. But for example, that follow directions song I did earlier. So we can follow directions. It's easy as can be. Play the drum on the chair, or put the drum on the chair, put the drum under the chair, or something like that, or behind the couch or under the table, or whatever it is that you can make up something. Another pre-academic skill is doing opposites. So playing your instrument, shaking like a shaker egg, up high, down low, fast and slow, playing loud and quiet, just giving different directions for your child to play the instrument. And a way to work on social and emotional skills is matching instrument playing to different emotions. So you might talk about, if someone's mad, you might play the instrument really loud, or if they're tired, you might play it quiet, or if it's fast, you're excited, and slow might be sad. So if you were trying to work on understanding different social or emotional, like different feelings. And social interaction by interacting non-verbally, which I already gave that example earlier, of playing the conversation skills with the instruments. Okay, another example is creating music. So this is that piggybacking that I was talking about. So using a well-known tune with new words. So use this strategy to grab and maintain your child's attention. One specific example of this is asking your child to do a non-preferred task, such as stopping a preferred activity, to wash their hands, to use the restroom. So think of songs you already know, like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Are you sleeping? That's Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping, Brother John? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, or Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. So those are songs everybody typically knows. So this one, I just did this really quickly. So if you're trying to have your kiddos stop playing so that they can wash their hands and get ready to eat. And this is to the tune of Are You Sleeping? Wash your hands, so we can eat, so we can eat. First we wash our hands, then we eat our food, then we wash again so we can play some more. Just on the fly, you know what I mean? Like using the music is going to help to grasp their attention, maintain their attention. And then you might also want to use it during mealtime if you're trying to encourage them to finish food before they're getting ready to go play. That's just some examples of, I know from my own children that I needed help with, not wanting to stop playing. So yeah, that is an example of piggybacking. And some more ideas for piggybacking. This strategy can be used to address any of the different domains. I'm gonna check my notes and make sure I'm not missing anything. And I use this strategy for following directions such as waiting. And I wrote my own waiting song, but you can use, the piggybacking idea. Mine is just waiting, waiting, we are waiting, waiting, waiting to whatever it is. I have a funny, but kind of, it's not too inappropriate of a story. So my daughter was blowing up a whoopee cushion for my son. And he was really young and he was really impatient, like yelling, yelling, yelling. And he could not wait for her to blow it up so he could sit on it to make a farting noise. And so she just started singing, waiting, waiting, we are waiting, waiting, waiting to fart. So that was just a funny example of like, oh, wow, a music therapist dream right there. My daughter's making up her own song about waiting to fart. So that's another funny example about my kiddos. I asked my daughter if I could find that video and share it on here, but I wasn't able to find it. I did take a video of it. I also use this strategy for myself. So as a way to help myself respond to my child's needs in a positive way, no matter what my current mood might be. So if I'm getting a little frustrated myself, I sometimes will just start singing the song because it changes how I'm thinking and how I'm feeling. And it also might change the whole mood of the whole family, right in that situation. Sometimes it's hard to do that when you're frustrated. I know it is for me, and I'm a music therapist, but that's just an example. It might help if you can just tell yourself, start singing a song and change the words and have your child do that direction. It might just change the way the whole night will go. Okay, another example is singing. So that's another way of creating different music. And this strategy expands on piggybacking and enters into specific domains. So one that I thought was important was communication, so expressive communication. So if you need to help your child with requesting something such as a favorite toy, and you want to encourage them to use the word please, you could piggyback a song and have them finish the phrase. So for example, this is to the tune of Old MacDonald, and it starts with the end of the song. So with a please, please here, and a please, please there, here a please, there a please, everywhere a please, please, I really want to play with that toy. Can I have it, please? So that's an example. You would teach your child that song, and then using that active listening strategy that I use in my sessions too, that I really want to play with that toy. Can I have it? And then wait for your child. It's that leading tone in the music. Can I have it, please? Do, 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 do. We not only want to hear the sound, but we want to hear the word, please. So I have some students who are really, really, they're just ornery sometimes and stubborn, and they know how to say different words, but they might not always want to say it when someone asks them to say it. But sometimes I can get them to do it with a song like this. For example, I had a client one time who he hadn't really had a whole lot of verbalizations in a while, and we were singing "Deck the halls with boughs of holly," just being silly, fa la 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 la. And he said la. So it just like elicits that response. Like the brain just wants to hear it, so it just does it. And so that's the cool part of music. It's so rhythmic, it's so predictable, it's so helpful. So that's a way that you can use that with a please, please here and a please, please there. And then maybe your child, eventually you might say, I really want to play with that toy. And they might sing the whole phrase, can I have it, please? Which would be the goal. And then the parent sings the first phrase at the onset of child asking for a toy, and then the child finishes a phrase to request a toy. And I also wrote in here that remember that repetition is key, and the structure of the song and the lyrics will help your child remember the next time. So you might just have to say, like if you sing this all the time, if when they're asking, you might just have to say, with a please, please here, and a, they might start singing the song. So just it's helpful just to cue them. And then also rhythmic speech. So when working on words that are hard to understand or isolated speech sounds. And an example that I gave of that was that like, I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee. So if your child's working on different, like the B sound, slowing it down. I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee. You can slow it down, and singing it and presenting it in a live way is so much better than, playing that song and listening to it, because you're probably going to get more of a response from your child when they're looking at you, having eye contact with you, you're playing with them, interacting with them, and you're giving them the space to fill in that last sound. And you also can slow it down to isolate those different sounds. So that's a different strategy for singing with speech sounds. Okay, how are we doing on time? Okay, 6:47. We're doing okay. So musical books. This is one of my absolute favorite things, and I probably will I'll give you some time, or I'll spend a little bit of time on this. And I'm going to actually include, Tara, I didn't do this, but I'm going to give a list of some of the books that I use after I explain how I use them.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. So many well-known children's songs are put to books. So like Wheels on the Bus, Wheels on the Bus, Old MacDonald, Itsy Bitsy Spider, and more. So you can use these books to interact with your child musically, and this is like social interaction with them. You're singing the book and you're working on social interaction. Singing to them, having eye contact, leaving space for them to fill in the blanks. And some books are written to the tune of familiar songs, but they have new words, which is that piggybacking that we were talking about. And you can try to use these books to teach whatever concept is already given, or you can think back on some of these other domains that we talked about, like, to interact with your child in a different way, or you can add instruments to it if you wanted to. And then other books may not originally have been intended to use music, but you may add music to it. So I have some examples. So for the ones that are already written, so like we have this Wheels on the Bus go round and round, that's the exact tune that all the words that you know. But you can use that with your child if they already know that song, leaving space, like I said, like the baby on the bus goes, and then see if they can tell you or interact in that way. But I also have a book that's Wheels on the Race Car, which is the same tune that you can sing to your child, but it just has a different words. So wheels on the race car go round and round all around the track. The engine in the race car goes broom, 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 broom. So different sounds and different things. You can add instruments to the sound. There's a checkered flag that goes swish, swish, swish. And it's all animals driving the cars, which is really funny. So they can identify different animals in the book when you're reading it with them. So I love books because they're so ordered. You know what I mean? Like there's a definite beginning and end, but you can also use the music. Another example is, let's see, written to familiar tunes. Oh, I also have like a Frosty the Snowman book. That's the actual song. Another example, sorry, I'm looking in my box that I have here. That song, there's Over in the Meadow. There's a bunch of books written to that tune. This one is Over in the Ocean. This is one of my very favorite ones. I actually did this book on my YouTube page, and I give examples on how to use this with your child and interact with them. Leave space for them to count different objects in the ocean. They're really great pictures to look at. So you can work on counting different things in this one. And there's different animals where like the mother says to say something. So for example, I'll give you an example of this one. Over in the ocean, far away from the sun, lived a mother octopus and her little octopus one. And then you have to find the one octopus. And she says, squirt, says the mother. And then the baby octopus says, I squirt. So then the children always have to respond to the parent. So whatever the parent says, they say, I squirt, said the one. So, and then it goes on and on, then there's two things on the next page. So you can find those two little baby fish or whatever it is. So that's a really fun book. And another way, so like this was not originally a song. This is 10 Little Ladybugs. And I love it because you can count these little ladybugs on here. And they're very, like there's a lot of sensory stimulation with this, but it is it rhymes. So any book that rhymes, typically you can find a song that goes with it. So I don't even know what song I put this to, but 10 little, or hang on, now I have that Over in the Ocean song in my head. 10 little ladybugs sitting on a vine. Along came a butterfly, then there were. And then you count the next one and it leads into that 9. Let's check and make sure there's 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I count to a major scale as well. So that one wasn't originally to a song, but it rhymes. So you can put it to a song. And then you can work on those pre-academic skills like counting.
That one, there's a whole series of them too, because we have like, there's all different ones and they're super great.
Yeah, like I have 10 little chicks too. They do
Yep.
chicks and lady. Okay, cool.
I feel like most different units, like you can cover like thematic units with one of those books.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also, I'm sure a lot of early childhood educators know about Pete the Cat. So all these Pete the Cat books, and if you look up Pete the Cat online, they have songs that go with them. But what people might not know is that the same author, he wrote Groovy Joe. And this is a really cool one too. And this song is online as well that you can find. And this is same kind of concept as Pete the Cat, but there's a song that goes there. But he plays music and he has a guitar just like Pete the Cat does, but he's a dog. And he says, disco party, bow wow. So Groovy Joe and the Disco Party Countdown, that has music you can look up. But also, like, for example, this is a book for like older kiddos. There's a lot of information in here about the solar system. So we would read a page of this book. Some of my kiddos who are just really, really high cognitively, I would read part of this book, and then the next page we would sing Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me. So the sun is kind of a big deal, is that one. There's also different songs about the different planets in the solar system. So you can find those online. The one that I really like, it goes Mercury and Venus, Earth and Mars, Jupiter and Saturn, those are the big ones. Uranus and Neptune, but not Pluto, because that's not a planet anymore. These are the planets. And it talks about Pluto in here too. And he's always sitting on the sidelines and he's like, hey guys, don't forget about me. So, just using music within those books that, I know a lot of parents read books every night to their kids. I know it's really important. And I'm sure that the parent educators really encourage that a lot as well. So if you can add music to it in any way, that just makes it a little bit more fun, So, and, another one that a lot of people know is there was an old lady who swallowed whatever it is. She swallows a cow in this one. So identifying different animals and their animal sounds. But there's other things like I found this one. I know a shy fellow who swallowed a cello. And then it goes through all these different musical instruments that he swallows. And then it turns into an orchestra at the end. So, just different ways to use music within the books. That's one of my very favorite things to do. And I will get a list compiled and send that to you.
That's
okay.
So awesome.
Now,
thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. One more scenario. Oh, sorry. Did you want to say something, Julie?
Just, I was going to reiterate what Tara said. That'd be great. Very, very helpful for the rest of the books too. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. No problem. Okay, so I have this scenario real quick for you as kind of a way for you to kind of try to put all this together in your head. Okay, so imagine this. You're at home with your 4-year-old and it's a virtual school day and you, for some reason or another, and you are trying to work from home that day on your computer. So you tell your child like, hey, why don't you sit in here real quick? I'm going to turn on some CoComelon for you to watch. My 4-year-old, well, now 5-year-old, loves CoComelon. So you sit down and watch the show. And then all of a sudden in the other room, you hear a song. And I don't even know if this is one that they sing, but this is just an example. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little ladybugs, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little ladybugs, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little ladybugs, 10 little ladybugs in a row. So you might hear that from the other room. And you might decide you can take a little 5-minute break real quick to interact with your child. So you might say, hey, I know that song. Can you count to 10 using your fingers? And you might interact with your child with helping them to count using their fine motor skills, which I have noticed in the early childhood settings that I've been in is a little bit lacking in these ages because of COVID. I think they haven't really been doing a whole lot of fine motor skills that they can do at school. Like there's a lot of coloring and creating different arts and crafts things, like in an early childhood setting. But some of the kiddos who came in a little bit later, they're lacking a little bit in those fine motor skills. So really working on the counting and using those fingers, isolating. And I said to assist your child if they have trouble hiding those fingers under their thumb. Okay. And then you ask your child, can you find anything else to count? Well, I know I have a big, huge bin of Legos in my living room that typically gets dumped everywhere. So what about your Legos? Can you count 10 of those? There's 10 ladybugs on the song. Can we find 10 ladybugs or 10 Legos? Look around the room or anything you have in your room, 10 pencils, 10 markers, 10 blocks, whatever it is. That's cognition. That's problem solving for your child. All right, so your child dumps out the entire bin of Legos and counts to 10. So that's working on their pre-academic skills. So that's good. You might tell them, great job, let's point and sing together. Repetition is key. And also I was telling you before the way that I count, but this is a great way to count up to 10 as well. So you might point and say, 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Legos, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little Legos, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little Legos, 10 little Legos in a row. And there's structure and predictability to it. You might leave a space like 1 little, 2 little, 3, see if your child can help you count it. Or another way that I was counting before is a major scale. So it's like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's how I usually count with my kiddos. And then let's go to the next one here. So extensions for that might be that they may or may not be musical. Like you might do something, a pre-academic skill like sorting, which I think I have in here later. Like sorting the different colors of Legos or different sizes of Legos. But the whole point that I want you to take from this is that the whole experience that you are having with your child was derived from and began with a simple children's song that you just heard in the background. So if you're already hearing the songs within your house already, what I want, this whole point of this presentation is for you to just be able to think about, okay, how can I interact with my child in a meaningful way right now using this music? It's not just, if you don't have time, fine, do it some other time. But just hearing those simple songs that are happening within your environment already, how can you interact with them and help to teach them a different skill and work on these different domains using the music? So that's just the neatest thing I think as a music therapist is that we can look at one song, one activity, and really have a different goal in mind. So this is what I'm talking about with, you have, it might look like you're just singing a song and counting Legos, but it's a different, when you have the non-musical goal in mind, that's a music therapy technique that you're trying to get a different response, not trying to teach your kid to be a good singer or play an instrument or have a musical goal in mind, but a non-musical goal that you're using the music to achieve.
Well, and I think about like what you were just talking about. So if you did all of those things, you're covering all domains.
Right.
And you could do that in like 5 to 6 minutes.
Right.
I mean, like 5 to 6 minutes, you just did all of those things and worked on so many things with your kiddo,
right.
plus bonding, spending quality time, all of that. So super awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of what I wanted to like, if you look at all these green highlighted, you're singing, there's one song, we have fine motor, cognition, pre-academics, repetition, singing, and that's structure. Yeah, like you're saying, you're addressing so many different domains with this one song, so just thinking about different ways you can do that. Here's some like an extension for that. So I just noticed there's 10 Legos, but there's only 3 different colors. So can we put them in this with the same colors? 1 little, 2 little, 3 yellow Legos. So there might be blue Legos, yellow, red, whatever it is. So doing it in a different way. And then I have to go back to work now. Let me know if we can find anything else to count later. So that's just, then you're also putting that in their mind later that like maybe they'll be eating dinner later and they'll have, 12 green beans on their plate and they can count those too, so just bringing it into all different areas of their life. I had any other ideas on how to use this song, but I don't know if anybody has any ideas or wants to add anything, but those are just a lot of different domains that can be given with just that, or addressed with just that one song. And I wanted to know if there was any questions or anything. I feel like I kind of zoomed through some of those, but I really wanted to get to the ideas of how to use music in your home. And I think just, an overall experience of how you can notice the music and use it.
I do know one of our parents who wasn't able to attend was wondering if your contact information. So if you do private therapy and things like that. So
yeah, I do have. So on this next slide, here's my my name and my email address and my phone number. And my company does offer in-home music therapy services. We actually don't have any openings currently, but during the summer we do have some openings that typically open up. So, and I usually start a waiting list for that. So if somebody wants to reach out to me, email me or call me. And I also know some other music therapists. I'm not one to hoard clients, so like if I can't do it and I know I can, I know other really great music therapists in the area that her company and my company, we kind of, we suggest them all the time when we are full.
Melissa, how long does a typical session last for a family that's interested in doing a therapy, program? How long does it last?
So typically, for the early childhood age, we'll do about 30 minutes. So like 30 minutes once a week. Okay. And sometimes the parents are involved and sometimes they're not. Sometimes, kiddos work better when the parents are in the other room. But there's definitely, an assessment process that takes place to get to know the child and to have the family come up with the goals that we want to work on. And then, always checking in with the parent. And typically the parents will hear what's going on with the music, so you can continue it on throughout the week as well.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All right.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for presenting tonight. It was such awesome information.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully it's useful for the parents.
It totally is. I learned a ton. I was just
good.
texting with one of my girlfriends who I work with, and I'm like, this is so awesome, because I thought I had a pretty good understanding of it, but I learned a whole lot more.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, thank you so much. And everybody, check her out, and we'll see you for the next presentation.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you.